Hey there! The web dev space had some pretty interesting developments in April, so let's spend a few minutes looking at the highlights. We'll start with some updates from the Angular world. Well guys, it looks like it is finally happening. Signals are coming to Angular. A request for comments was opened a few weeks back, and the community's interest for this new reactivity model exceeded all expectations. The GitHub discussion has hundreds of comments, and, based on the overwhelming positive feedback, signals are coming into the framework. If you are not familiar with the term, signals are not a novel concept. They gained more visibility and popularity in the web dev world in recent years, mostly due to their usage in Solid.js. Solid is similar to React due to its JSX, hooks, and function components usage. Therefore, the stark difference in the reactivity model between the two of them gave signals a boost of notoriety. React's reactivity is famously complex, with rendering and reconciliation algorithms heavily relying on a virtual DOM. As an alternative, Solid's reactivity is streamlined, with a lower memory footprint and better performance results. Seeing these benefits, other libraries such as Preact quickly adapted and switched to a signals-based architecture, and now Angular, which is arguably transitioning to a friendlier, more robust framework in recent versions, is picking up signals as well. Since we are talking about releases, Angular's version 16 release candidate was published in April. A big highlight for a lot of devs will be improved server-side rendering capabilities with support for real hydration. This, combined with HTTP request caching, will decrease the time needed for first app renders. However, what I find more exciting are the following two topics, both of them pointing to the same direction of making Angular simpler and better fitted for modern web development. First of all, the transition to the Ivy compilation and rendering pipeline is now complete, which means no more legacy dependencies to the old Vue rendering process. The second change is a more subtle one. Angular is slowly moving towards enabling a more functional approach of writing code, and they are introducing various operators and helpers to allow devs to break away from the class and object restrictions. Exciting stuff! All the Angular news from the past few months are very promising, so it looks like this framework might still have a fighting chance moving forward. Next on the list is an interesting overview of the most popular web frameworks running on Netlify. We'll not get into details regarding Netlify's use cases and overall impact in the dev world, but just know that they are in a great position to give us accurate metrics which are relevant across the web space. I am linking the article in the description down below if you want to read it in detail. Here are some interesting highlights though. 3 out of the top 4 frameworks used to build apps deployed in Netlify are React-based. Create React App is still used by most developers, but expect this to change in the near future since even React's official documentation points towards better alternatives now. And, finally, Vue's Next has pretty strong numbers considering the increased competition for second place outside the React ecosystem. Another important release in the space is Node version 20. Interestingly enough, we are starting to see features inspired by Deno transitioning into Node. For instance, Node is now experimenting with a new permission model, which restricts access to specific resources during execution. Those familiar with Deno know that this type of security-first approach was baked into the runtime from the get-go and was one of the main selling points for Deno developers. You can read an overview of all the new additions in the article linked in the description. Node is far from being obsolete, and they are always building on top of their existing stacks while also focusing more and more on performance. Since I am mentioning Deno, note that you'll find various videos on this topic on my channel. Besides that, a few days ago, Ryan Dahl, the creator of Node and Deno, gave a 30-minute talk announcing the next Deno 2.0 release and some other interesting features such as the new built-in global key value database. This is quite impressive and it deserves a video on its own. The amount of potential a platform like Deno Deploy has at this point is mind-blowing. I am a big fan of backend as a service tools such as Firebase or Supabase, but Deno Deploy's simplicity and the Deno language flexibility make this entire stack a great alternative to easily and reliably build backends at scale. There are a few more stories I want to cover in this video, but first I'd like to take a second and ask you to help me fight the YouTube algorithm by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Okay, back to the news. Check out these benchmarks released by the Vite team. Vite is already known for its great development experience and overall great performance. However, while working their way up to the most recent version, the team behind it was able to employ some fairly smart strategies and make Vite even faster than before. This is an interesting but rather technical read. However, give it a minute of your time and you will get the full picture of all the blood, sweat and tears that go into building tools such as Vite. So, with adjustments ranging from better ways to resolve dependencies to making use of non-blocking tasks, Vite is slowly becoming the build tool preferred by all frameworks and libraries in the front-end space. Let's now also take a quick look at Rich Harris's most recent talk, where he is discussing the current state of the web. Rich is the creator of revolutionary tools such as Svelte or Rollup and, in my opinion, has one of the most accurate and objective overviews of the web space. In this 30-minute video, he tackles the trend of creating HTML-first apps with zero JavaScript dependencies, while also, interestingly enough, stating that the multi-page application architecture is dead. This is yet another controversial topic, and just last week I posted a video on this subject. The video is filled with interesting information, and it is always great to pick Rich's mind since he clearly is one of the leading voices in the front-end space. Finally, let's switch gears and briefly discuss the Go language. A few weeks back, this article title caught my eye. Despite the overly confident headline, I must say I agree with most of the things stated in this piece. Based on the YouTube metrics, most of you guys are JavaScript devs at heart, and, as you probably know, as JavaScript devs, we usually have bigger fish to fry than looking at the language internal process, its security, or its core memory management. This article is written from the perspective of a C developer looking towards more modern, higher-level languages, and I believe it's worth reading if you want to broaden your perspective on programming. Please let me know in the comments if you feel like I missed anything important in this video, and until next time, thank you for watching.